3, 2. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Breakroom, where we talk and you listen. I think I say that like almost every time, which is the worst intro to possibly give. I am Nick Loud, and I'm joined by Zach and Corey, my co-founders over at Conversion Factory, and we're just going to start talking. I have a great topic today for these clowns, which is worst job you've ever had and what made it awful. I have mine locked and loaded. I have like 2 actually in my head, but we can go with, you could pick one or pick a bunch. It doesn't matter. This could be like a real job, quote unquote, like a professional office job, or it could be like a first job out of high school, whatever you want to do. Corey already is ready to go. So I want to hear yours first.
Okay, I'll give 2 examples. One was like my first paid, I wouldn't call it like a job, but it was like a temporary like summer gig. And one of our friends, Jeremy from high school, his dad owned a landscaping business, and Jeremy was always working for his dad. I mean, he was just like on the routes, and he was working part-time, even during high school. So he was like, hey, if you want some work and you want to come with me on the routes, like my dad can probably like hook it up and like we can get you a job. And I was like, oh, for sure, I'll do that. Like if you can do it, I can definitely do it. And so he was like, okay, cool. Like I think they need some extra hands because they're working on a special project. So I was like, great, that's perfect. So I do all the paperwork, talk to him, get the equipment, whatever. I show up at like 4:30 in the morning on a Friday, and I was scheduled to work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then it was going to be like only weekends. So I show up 4:30 in the morning on Friday. I thought it was going to be with Jeremy. They put me with like a random crew, and then there's like 6 of us, and we go to this job site where they're completely demoing the whole backyard of like a retiree center, like a, not like hospice, but like a, just like a retirement community. Mm-hmm. And so, we get on there at like 5:30 in the morning, and they're like, all right, your job is you're going to take this pickaxe and you're going to dig out the trench that we're going to run the irrigation from one side of the yard to the other. And just however far you can get throughout the day is great. So, at first it wasn't so bad, right? But then your back starts going out, and then the sun comes out. And then by like 9 in the morning, I was like, I'm literally dying right now. And I'm trying to be like a good, diligent worker. I'm like 16 or something. And everyone else is doing other things. I have like the worst job of all of them. And so then like we have lunch. I finally get a little break. They're all like, stay in school. Like, this sucks, huh? And like, like, you don't want this to be your job. Trust me. Like, do something else with your life.
Corey's like, I know.
Yeah, I'm like, trust me. I'm getting the picture now. Went back and did the same thing the next day, just all over again. Just, completed the trench, by the way. But I was literally like pickaxing rocks and concrete and like digging through just the hardest ground you've ever looked at. And then I came home with Jeremy, I think at like 4:00 that Saturday, and I was like, hey bro, I'm done. Like, this is it. That's all I got. I can't do this again. It's not worth it. I think I was getting paid like $8.50 an hour, and I was like, I just made like $100 for what? Like the most literally backbreaking work of my entire life. No, thank you. So that was job number 1. Job number 2 is like less funny and more just like sucky. I had a brief stint at Subway as a sandwich artiste. Yeah. And,
architect.
Yeah.
And it turns out Jared was at that Subway, and Corey was a very attractive teenager.
Is that why it was such a bad job?
I had a really complicated relationship with the manager. No, I actually did. I've never felt so like hated and ostracized by someone. The managers, for some reason, like hired me on the spot, and then the next week just decided that she hated me, gave me all the worst shifts. I was like alone half the time. The times that I wasn't alone, she would do the shift with me, like the manager. and just criticized everything that I did. It was never fast enough. It was never good enough. Also, the people that come through Subway are just not the best customers.
Really?
Especially in Alpine, California,
Yeah.
where there's just an interesting crowd up there.
Is this the Subway?
Like one time,
the Subway that's by Albertsons? That one?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, damn. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So, white trash, homeless people, cokeheads, construction workers, just not a fun type of people to be around. And one time this guy came in and he was like, hey, I was like, oh, what can I help you with? He's like, I'm going to get a tuna melt. I was like, cool, what kind of bread? He's like, no bread. I was like, oh, okay. Did you want a salad or did you want it on like a pita bread or whatever? They had that at the time. He was like, nope, you just put it on the little paper that you guys have. So I was like, oh, okay. So I just like scooped it on. He's like, make it a double. Just made a mountain of tuna on this little plastic sheet of paper that you wrap the sandwiches in. I'm like, okay, so do you want, lettuce, tomatoes, onions? Nope, just the tuna. It's like, do you want any condiments or seasonings? Nope, just the tuna. So I was like, okay, I hope you understand, like, I have to charge you for like 2 tuna melts for this. And it was literally just a mountain of tuna, which, by the way, a couple years later, they got sued because it turned out that there was 0% tuna in their tuna. It was all just like leftover fish
guts,
meat fragments. Yeah.
Ew.
Which I always suspected because it did not look like real meat whatsoever. And he was like, yeah, it's totally fine. I was like, all right. So I just took the mountain of tuna, put it on the little tray, charged him like $16, which again at the time was like, an atrocious amount for a sandwich.
Jeez, dude.
And then he asked for a spoon and just sat there at the table and spooned the mountain of tuna into his mouth for about half an hour while I watched him because he was the only other person in there.
He could have literally gone to the Albertsons that was 30 yards further and grabbed some Star-Kissed packets for 1/4 the price.
He really liked Subway's,
not tuna,
grinded, quote unquote tuna.
He liked the way Corey handled that little ice cream scooper for the tuna. Yeah. That's what he really wanted.
That's gross. That's a disgusting story.
That's just one story, man. There's been so many crazy sandwiches or just requests the way that people want things.
Nasty, dude.
One time a dude ordered a sandwich and he only put what was it? The banana peppers? Pepperoncinis.
Yeah, pepperoncinis.
He only put pepperoncinis, and it was one of the meats, but it was like a random one. It was like, not ham. What did they have? There was tuna, beef. I think it was maybe like one. It was like only one of the Italian meats. Maybe it was like salami. It was just salami
like
and pepperoncinis.
Yeah.
No condiments, no vegetables whatsoever, and just bread. Yeah.
Ew.
Some people are broken, dude. They're just broken inside.
That's what I'm talking about. Every day it was like, I was surprised by what people would order.
Jeez, dude. Holy cow. Okay. That was great. That's great. I did want to ask, did Jeremy give you a hard time when you quit landscaping?
At first, and then he was like, I'm jealous of you. I wish I could quit.
Yeah, he was on the route for a minute, dude.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have lasted a second. I'm glad.
He never dug trenches like that, though, let me tell you.
Okay.
He was out there blowing leaves and running the lawnmower.
That's so interesting because I did construction with my grandfather all throughout high school until like especially over summers, and I was doing that stuff like every day. The trenches, hanging drywall, framing up on roofs, like there was no manner of physical labor that I didn't do. But contrary to you guys, I didn't quit. And I guess I'm bringing it up because it's strange, because I think it's an insight into how stubborn I am. Like, I don't care how much pain this causes me. I can handle it. And the one thing I'm not going to do is stop.
Yeah, I already felt like it was only going to be like a summer gig for like weekends. And I was just like, this is not how I'm going to spend my summer on the weekends.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
See, I had weekends off, thankfully, which was nice. Or I had Sundays off because my grandfather worked freaking every day, but I managed to pull Sundays.
Nice.
Yeah, it's nice.
Okay. Do you want to go next, Zach? Oh, because of that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So that wasn't one of your worst jobs then?
No, actually, I think my worst jobs were all office jobs. So I think by far the worst one was the first job that I had out of college, which was for this company. It was a marketing company that specialized in Costco food items, like getting you into Costco and your marketing efforts around there. It was just like this. It wasn't even like they were a marketing agency. They just had connections with the people that were in, like the distributors and the people who made the buying decisions for Costco. And they happened to also do packaging design, but they're having me do stuff like, yeah, just pull it off Shutterstock. I'm like, but we don't have the actual, the license for this. Like, just use Photoshop to get rid of all the watermarks. God. And I was like, seriously? That's what we're going to do? Stuff like, I remember they were interested in doing a rebrand. And so I put together like 6 really killer logo options for them. And I can still remember what they look like. And the lady who ran the business denied all of mine and then hired some other lady who is their creative director. And she did a logo design that was essentially a concept that I created, but she did it worse. And then they picked that one. So I got fired after 3 months from them, which was nice because then I got to go do other stuff.
But you didn't quit.
I didn't quit. I was getting ready to once I had another job lined up, but they beat me to the punch. Yeah, they sucked. That's where I realized it's like, yeah, you know what? There's a lot of designers out here in creative agencies that have no idea what they're doing, and I could do this better myself. So the impetus for my entrepreneurial journey started there as far as recognizing a problem. Second worst job was also one that I got fired from, which was this t-shirt company. It was kind of like T-Shirt Mart, where, you could go put your own custom graphics on it. It was called Big Frog T-Shirts, and it was in the Claremont Square in...
I remember Big Frog.
They're a franchise.
Yeah,
they have a bunch of locations. Yeah.
And so their business owners had, again, no clue what they're doing and would say things like, we see a lack of urgency with your work. I'm like, you have to wait 10 minutes for these things to print. There's nothing I physically cannot make the machine go faster.
You're like cursing at the machine. Go faster.
Yeah.
That's the urgency I like to see.
No, they didn't like me because they were a very liberal, like shop owners, and I'm very not liberal. And, I think they caught on when, I would say some things that I was going to go do over the weekend, or, when they had, I forget what they had. It was like some pro-choice organization that wanted to come in, or like, I forget what it was, but we clearly differed politically, and I didn't care because it was like, whatever, I'm freaking like 20 years old. I just got to get this stuff done and go home. And then I got fired for lack of urgency. Me getting fired for lack of urgency, which is
That's funny.
Quite funny.
Those are fantastic examples. I love that. Awesome.
How different we all are.
I know
already.
Yeah. I have 2 that I was going to mention. The first one is a quote unquote real job. When I must have been 23. So this is 24 maybe. I think I was 24. This is not that long ago. This is like 6 years ago. I left a great job that I was pissy at, that they didn't appreciate me. I left that job, And I found another job, which I thought was a company that like did like small business, like lending, like normal financing for small businesses. So like, like a bank essentially. Only to later find out it was essentially the business version of a payday loan. So, you could take your check to a fast cash, whatever place, and they'll give you your check amount right up front, for the next one, and then you pay it back at like a bazillion percent interest. So they do that for businesses, and it's like hidden by this word called funding. All these companies are like so and so funding this funding, and on the phone you're not allowed to say it's a loan or it's a whatever because it's not legally. So they call it funding. But these are like, we would collect all these bank statements from companies that were like, they said, oh, you make, your bank brings in, let's say $20,000 a month. This is your bank account receipts. We'll give you $20,000 right now. And then in the next 12 months, you will pay us back $45,000. And the business owners would be like, okay, sure. And it was just like, dude, there were so many people on the phone just like desperate for money. And it was really, really, while I was working there, I felt like just the worst. I felt so bad, especially once I like really realized how bad it was compared to like normal financing for things. I was like, I'm a loan shark is what I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very predatory.
Ouch.
Yeah. So I felt really bad the whole time doing that. I was only there for like a couple months, but it was
Nick,
awful.
It's probably a good thing you did feel bad doing that because you should.
Dude, the people that work there would just be like, F this effing idiot. He sucks anyway. I hope his business goes on. I'm just like, why?
Sheesh,
also,
man.
you can collect like a couple $100 when this guy signs up. It's crazy. Anyway, so that was the worst
were those
one.
businesses like struggling financially or have bad credit or like
Yes.
Was there some reason why they were so desperate?
Yeah, most of them were like not in the black enough each month to keep going, or a lot of them were like, I'm a tow truck driver and my truck is broken down and I can't afford to fix it and I have bad credit. And so I need like a bunch of money right now so I can fix my truck so that I can even pay my bills. It's like, okay. Or honestly, there were a couple use cases that made sense, and that was only like super high profit margin people. Like you have a fleet of trucks, and if you got 20 grand right now, you could just buy another one and it's going to make you way more than what you're going to pay back. So they're just like, I don't care how much it costs because in the long run, I'm going to make way more. Those were like basically the only time it made sense. But almost always I was like, you could just like go to the dealership and just like finance this and figure it out. Like you should just do that. Yeah, it was pretty terrible. My other worst job, and I'll put quotes around worst because it actually wasn't that bad, but it was delivering pizza, which I did too late in life. I wish I had done it when I was like younger because I think I actually would have really liked it, but it was just me working with people who were like 5 years younger than me, and they're just like the worst people that you could possibly imagine. Just like they're talking about how they're gonna go get a bunch of cocaine after this, and then they're gonna come back to work, and just the worst group that you could think of.
Cocaine and pizza, right on.
Yeah. But honestly, the money is pretty good for being a pizza delivery driver for like how flexible it is. So I highly recommend it for anyone who's just jumping out and starting school or whatever, and they need a job. So that's everything. Those are my options.
That is a sweet gig. I have a theory there. I think there's a phenomenon out there that some of like on average, people who are objectively like bad people with bad work ethics and bad experience somehow end up with kind of like the sweetest, cushiest jobs, especially at a low level, like entry level jobs. And the best, hardest working, most people with most integrity end up with like the hardest jobs. Because again, like pizza delivery, I would have done that for 6 years. I would have done it in high school all the way up through college. But I ended up making sandwiches for Subway, doing construction, doing landscaping, doing Funflix. Funflix was like the least bad one. That one was pretty good. Setting up movie screens in backyards for people who don't know what Funflix is. But like somehow it's always like the good jobs that have like the worst people. Am I the only one that feels that way?
I guess I never gave any thought to it because the only jobs that I've had that would kind of fall under that criteria were I was an ice cream scooper at Cold Stone, but I wouldn't consider that a cushy job.
Did you have to sing?
Yeah. It was bad. That, and then I was a cadet at the police department, and then from then on I was graphic design stuff at SDSU, which was great. Those were easy.
Yeah, I don't know. When I was delivering pizza, it was like, like say there's 20 people that work there, like there was a group of 15 that were like awful, the worst, like the like just bad people to work with, and then like the other 5 were like, it's like we skipped like 5 steps, and they were really good, and I was like, dude, why are you even working here? Like you could have a real awesome job. I think you can make way more money. You have skills. You should not be working here. And they're like, I know, I am just here. I'm like, freaking, what the heck? And that's how I felt. I was like, us group over here, we're fine. These people are doomed, but we are fine. Why are we here?
I guess I always felt like I had a hard time getting like a decent job, like an entry-level job, when I was in high school and college. Like I applied to so many jobs in high school, and the only job that I ever got was that landscaping gig that I did for the weekend. I almost never even got an interview. I felt like, I did my research on my resume. I interviewed well. I would always follow up. I would call and say thanks. I would show up early. I was very pleasant, very cordial. And it was like, I could never get anything. And so that's why like I see people with like the pizza, delivery gigs. And I'm like, how did you even get this? Because there was kids like me that could not land something like this for some reason.
Yeah, I got rejected from the movie theater, and
another sweet gig.
Yeah, which would have been another sweet gig, and I was like, why? Why did I get rejected from that? And I think maybe here's what it is. They can tell based on how much effort you're putting in. They're like, I don't want to work with that guy. He's gonna outdo me in
right.
That could be
in 2 weeks. It's entirely possible, because
that's true.
I would wager that a 17-year-old Zach had enough competence to manage a movie theater and usurp it and turn it into a functioning, well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
So maybe that's it.
There's something to it. Even at Subway, my thing was like, I was never the fastest, but I would always like take my time to make sure that their sandwich actually like presented well. And I was always super, super nice to the customers. And I was very on top of like stocking and restocking and cleaning. Everyone else I felt like was really fast in making sandwiches, but they were super mean, very irresponsible, never stocked or restocked, never cleaned. And yet I felt like I was always on like the bottom of the totem pole. And yeah, maybe there's something to, there's like
I don't know.
There's a Cain and Abel element to it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Jealousy.
Fast food, dude, if you're slow, everyone hates you. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how good you are. If you're like slow, even if it's on purpose, everyone hates you. Like I totally experienced that, because I was like, just to be real, I was fast and I was good with the customers. Okay.
Oof, wow.
But the people who sucked, who were also slow, just drove me crazy, because it's just like, how could you be like, this is the simplest, like you're doomed in every scenario of life because this is the simplest job. But maybe that was it. But I don't know. I don't think, I think that doing it on purpose is different than people who actually couldn't make pizza fast enough.
Right. It's not like I wasn't like, I couldn't process like, wait, lettuce, tomato, and what else? It was just like, oh no, I'm not just going to like chuck it in here and then like close it up.
It needs to look good.
Yeah. I'm going to make it like something edible.
Yeah. Okay. We could talk about fast food restaurants for hours probably. Okay. Well, thanks for listening in. This has been The Break Room. See you next week, where Zach will tell us his darkest secret. Bye, everybody.